Hello, it's 12 hours GMT. This is the Midday News. The news is live on Joy99.7 FM in Accra. We are live in Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. On Facebook, we're streaming live and over 30 affiliates across Ghana's 16 regions, including Laura FM in Laura, A1 Radio in Bolgatanga, Sky FM in Sunyane, and Victory FM Aplao. Go digital on Spotify and the MindJoy online app. And coming up, Fix the Country convener Oliver Bakavomo, who is facing treason felony charges, granted 2 million Ghana cedi bail by Itema High Court.
The accused person is innocent until proven guilty, and that is entitled to bail with conditions, and that is what the court did. So justice has been well served.
We are live on the ground with all the details. Also, Civil and Local Government Staff Association demand immediate withdrawal of the appointment of Henrietta Lamte as head of the Birth and Death Registry.
Hereby resolved, and as resolved, that the political appointment of the Register of Birth and Death should be reversed.
Ghana Revenue Authority to begin taxing digital platforms like betting and e-commerce sites in 2 weeks as it moves to shore up government revenue.
A lot of people are moving away from the brick and mortar business into this online business. Betting entities are now springing up across the country. They will also be required to register and charge VAT on effective 1st April 2022.
We have details and coming up in sports.
Cape Coast Sports Stadium will be ready by March 20. National Sports Authority declares as confusion over a fit-for-purpose stadium for Ghana versus Nigeria World Cup qualifier looms.
Mufta will bring us details at 20. And later in the bulletin, how safe is your street vended fried rice and smoked fish?
Most of our cancer problems that we have is coming as a result of the benzoylpyrene.
We'll hear from scientists at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology who say they discovered cancer-causing substances in those foods, mainly due to the excessively high temperatures used for its preparation.
The fried chicken that we see in the fried rice, the chicken itself contained the benzoylpyrene as well as its precursor, the pyrene, and some of the rice as they stir fry. So all those things contributed to the presence of pyrenes in the food that we examined.
We have details of these stories and more in this half-hour package. Please stay with us. Thanks for choosing us. I am Ernest. This is your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Let's settle for the details now. Chants by supporters of the Fix the Country convener Oliver Bakavomo, who has been granted bail this afternoon by Itema High Court. He was arrested last month and charged with treason felony, the highest crime of the land, for allegedly claiming he will stage a coup himself if the military failed to do so. In court today, the judge said he did not consider Mr. Vomawo flight risk and granted him a 2 million cedi bail. His followers burst into jubilation shortly after the court delivered its ruling. Let's take you live now to the grounds for details of this development. Kojo Brace is there for us. Kojo, first of all, what were the legal arguments in court today?
So the respondent, which is the state, was saying that Oliver Bakavomo is flight risk, and therefore the court should not grant him the bail. Also, they were arguing that if he is granted bail, he could interfere in the investigation because so far it's not been that cooperative. But lawyers for Oliver Bakavomo, led by lawyer Akotuampo, argued that his passport is still with the state, and therefore it's quite difficult for him to leave the country. Again, they said that he's been able to show where he stays. So the argument about the fact that he doesn't have a permanent abode in Ghana does not fly. And then they were also saying that Oliver has been able to cooperate with investigations so far. Now, the judge, after hearing all of these arguments, which were written arguments, he came to the conclusion that Oliver Barker-Vormawor is not flight risk.
This is what is expected in a democratic republic, that the accused person is innocent until proven guilty, and that is entitled to bail with conditions, and that is what the court did. So justice has been well served.
And what should we expect from now, sir?
Nothing. What do you expect? Everything is in the ball of the prosecution. When they are ready for trial, we'll be ready for them.
All right, sir.
So that's lawyer for Oliver Barker-Vormawor. Kojo is still with us on the line. Kojo, where is Mr. Vormawor as we speak?
Currently, he is at the Ashaiman Divisional Police. He is in the office of the commander, where he and his lawyers are trying to settle out the bail conditions so that he could be let go today.
Kojo, thank you very much. That's my colleague Kojo Brace there. He was in court for us today. And yesterday, AU leaders met in Accra to discuss factors following coup d'etats on the continent. The region has become unstable according to the 2019 annual risk coup report by the Africa Union Security Council. The report identified political greed, marginalization and mismanagement, among others, as key factors following coup d'etats on the African continent. We have a breakdown of that for you shortly, but first, listen to President Akufo-Addo speaking at the meeting.
Among them are, according to the AU Peace and Security Council, and I quote, deficiencies in governance, political greed, mismanagement of diversity, failure to seize opportunities, marginalization, human rights violations, unwillingness to accept electoral defeat, manipulation of constitutions, and their revision through unconstitutional means to serve personal narrow interests, unquote, and so on. Even more worrying, the expression of social discontent by the citizenry against these factors, usually through protests, has often been met with varying degrees of repression, co-option, violence, and further consolidation of the status quo.
The president is also unhappy some civilian leaders try to circumvent constitutions to extend their stay in office.
Some foreign entities regard coups in Africa as a means of enhancing their regional ambitions. As such, they engage in all sorts of disinformation campaigns in a bid to disparage the authority of democratically elected governments and instigate opposition protests against incumbents. In implementing existing continental and regional instruments and protocols, defaulting member states are condemned and suspended from the activities of continental and regional bodies, and individual coup makers are sanctioned. However, the reality is these sanctions have not been applied uniformly. While we're quick to sanction military coup leaders, civilians who achieve similar ends via the manipulation of constitutions to remain in power, for example, go without sanctions, although their actions are clearly prohibited.
That's President Akufo-Addo there speaking at the AU Security Conference here in Accra. So how gloom is the coup situation in Africa? Presidential correspondent Elton Bobe joins me in the studio with more on this. Elton, what does the statistics say about the coups we've recorded here in Africa?
So according to the 2019 annual RICS compiled by the Security Council of the African Union, Africa has experienced more coups than any other continent in the world. 30% have occurred in democracies, already established democracies. Now, 3 of such is what we are dealing with in West Africa now, Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso. Now, 18 African leaders, according to the report, have modified or eliminated constitutional time limit in the last 2 decades. 8 resisted efforts to institute term limit, bringing countries constitutionally restraining on political power to 24, almost half of the countries on the continent. 15 have respected constitutional limits. 21 countries upheld them. And average time office holders respected time limit is 4 years, according to the report on the African continent.
Elton, thank you very much for bringing us those details. Now, away from that, Civil and Local Government Staff Association of Ghana is demanding the immediate withdrawal of the appointment of Henrietta Lamte as head of the Births and Deaths Registry. At a news conference, Clocksack said her appointment is unlawful and in breach of the Civil Service Act. Isaac Bampuado is Executive Secretary.
The unlawful appointment of a non-civil servant to replace a civil servant who was acting as the registrar. The improper instruction from the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development to the acting registrar to prepare handing over notes and hand over to Madam Henrietta Lamte within 10 days. The hurried manner in which Madam Henrietta Lamte was introduced by the Deputy Minister of Local Government and Rural Development to the staff of the registry before the deadline for the handing over. The stance of the Secretary to the President that the current registry is not part of the civil service or the local government service. That under Article 195, the blatant disregard for procedures of appointments into the civil service and the local government service, as well as the neutrality principle, are unwarranted and regrettable. Hereby resolves, and as resolved, that the political appointment of the Register of Births and Deaths should be reversed.
So that's the Executive Secretary of Clocksack, Isaac Bampo Ado. Elton Brobe covered that news conference. He's still with me in the studio. Elton, what evidence they provide to back the claims that the appointee holds dual citizenship?
Absolutely no evidence, except to say that it is rumors they have heard, and they want the media to verify this rumor.
But what more is Clocksack doing to have the appointment reversed?
So, first they are going to court to have the court set aside to pronounce on this matter and say that the appointment should be declared null and void because it did not go through the Civil Service Council. There's also an issue about academic qualification of the appointee and whether or not the appointee has the requisite, qualification to do. But more importantly, they are also alleging that because she worked as special assistant to the then local government minister, Haji Ali Mahama, that makes her a political player, and for that reason, she should not be allowed to stay in this office.
But you've been digging more on this issue. You have cited a copy of the appointment letter given to Madam Lamte on this. What are the details?
So this is dated the 12th of January 2022, signed by the Secretary to the President, Nana Asante-Bediato, and it says that pursuant to Section 2 of the Registration of Birth and Death, I'm pleased to inform you that the President has appointed you to act as the Registrar of the Birth and Death Registry, pending receipt of the constitutionally required advice of the Minister for Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development, given in consultation with the Public Services Commission. I take this opportunity to congratulate you. Now, what the Clocksack is saying that this did not go through the Local Service Council, and for that reason, the appointment should be declared null and void.
Elton, thank you very much for bringing us those details. Away from the story, the Ghana National Association of Teachers is demanding the immediate withdrawal of Igana Education Service Directive, asking all teachers and staff occupying government bungalows to pay 10% of their basic salary as rent. The association says the directive is against the spirit and letter of the collective agreement enacted between the GES and the teacher unions back in August 2009. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me with more details of a statement released by NAT. Kweku, what more does the association say?
So this statement from NAT referenced two agreements they say they've had with government that states that headmasters, assistant headmasters, senior housemasters, and other officials of second cycle institutions shall be provided with free residential accommodation, and that when there is no residential accommodation, the service shall be responsible for the rents of the officers concerned. And so they have two agreements that says that these groups of people are not going to pay rent. They are cautioning the Ghana Education Service to withdraw the directive to take the 10% of basic salary as rent. They say if the Ghana Education Service does not do that in the immediate, it will cause some industrial in harmony in the international relation between the Ghana National Association of Teachers as well as the Ghana Education Service.
Thank you very much, Kweku. And this is coming on the back of a letter we saw written by the GES Western director asking that the district assemblies or the district directors as well as school heads make sure that this rent is complied with, the policy on rent, as well as ensure that all arrears are duly paid by the teachers occupying these bungalows, and we'll bring you more in our subsequent bulletins. Let's take you now to Parliament, where the Trade Minister Alan Tremantin has been blaming the Finance Ministry for government's inability to disburse interest loans to pharmaceutical companies captured under the One District, One Factory initiative. We'll hear from the Minister later. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. The Ghana Revenue Authority will, from the beginning of next month, tax digital platforms, including betting and e-commerce platforms. This is part of efforts to shore up government revenue as government faces a real test in its revenue mobilization drive. Here's Assistant Commissioner of the GRA, Martin Yamborga, speaking on the Super Morning Show today.
Effective 1st April 2022, we are going to move fully into the taxation. Some of these people are already paying tax, but there are a lot more because of the nature of the operations who were probably not registered with us. And then given that it is an area that is also growing, a lot of people are moving away from the brick and mortar business into this online business. Betting entities are now springing up across the country, and they're also more or less doing this. So they're all part of this. So they'll also be required. Already it is in the law. They are supposed to register and charge VAT on it.
The betting companies, how do they charge VAT?
So the betting companies, when you place a bet, the amount that you have placed a bet, they are supposed to charge VAT on it at the standard rate.
Okay.
Then, when you win, the prize winning, the VAT that you paid on it, when you win, they will not take that out as an input tax.
That's Martin Yamborga. He is the Assistant Commissioner of the Ghana Revenue Authorities. Let's return to Parliament now. We're joined by correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson for some more detail on what the Trade Minister Alan Tremantin has been saying, blaming the Finance Ministry for government's inability to disburse interest loans to pharmaceutical companies captured under the 1D, 1F initiative. Parker, how has the Minister been explaining this?
Well, so the Minister essentially has been raising two key points. Now, one, because the Finance Ministry is unable to release funds on time, is the reason the pharmaceutical companies are not getting their money. And then two, it could be that the companies themselves made late application, and so the application is not being processed. But I must say that the NDC MPs are not buying into this explanation. They believe there's some level of discrimination among the ministry as far as the companies are concerned. So they are asking him to do more to ensure that every company gets the needed funds for its operations. And I must say that he's also made some staggering revelations about some money being given to some of the companies. The minority is raising concerns about the disparity, that some banks or some companies are getting more than the others. They want the minister or the ministry should have a level playing ground for all the companies who have applied for these funds.
That's Parliamentary Correspondent Kwesi Parker-Wilson. You're listening to the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Ernest. Manu. Still to come, residents of Northeast Gonja District in the Savannah region forced to compete with animals for drinking water from fast-drying polluted streams. We have details as it emerges that about 97% of households still do not have access to potable water. And we ask later in the bulletin, how safe is your street vended fried rice and smoked fish?
Most of our cancer problems that we have is coming as a result of the benzoylpyrene.
We have details after the break. Stay with us.
Hey, Evercoco, what brings you to my house this early morning? I hope all is well.
All is never well with me, Nick Bakbo. After paying 3 times for the land for my project, the construction workers are now giving me wahala. From material overestimation to small stealing. I am tired.
I told you so, Evercoco.
At
It's all because you are trying to become builders when you're corporate workers and business people. Edlum has products tailored to meet your needs. Villas 3 at Amrahia, where there are finished homes. Conveniente, also at Amrahia, where it's contemporary but super affordable apartments. Prices start from $35,000. And the Avant-Garde, located in Adjurigano, which has sleek luxury apartments. For more information, please visit edlumhousing.com or simply call 0270-166-166. Edlum Housing, where spacious homes cost less.
Into the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Thanks so much for staying with us. Now let's go to the northeast region because residents of the Gonja district in the Savannah region, I beg your pardon, are this afternoon forced to compete with animals for drinking water from fast-drying polluted streams. A 2020 population and housing census report says that about 97% of households in the district use unimproved drinking water sources. This means that more than 9 out of every 10 households in the district use water which is prone to contamination with fecal matter. We'll take you live there for more on this shortly, but first let's delve deeper into this report. Head of our research desk, Raymond Aqua, joins me in the studio with more. Raymond, first of all, tell us which sources of water which are unimproved and which ones are improved in the district.
So basically, if it's prone to contamination, especially with fecal matter, it's unimproved. So surface water and also water transported through the tankers and all of the others, like the river bodies and the other water bodies that are not covered, that are not clean, that actually people can access without all the filtration that's supposed to happen. The clean water sources are the ones that come through the taps that are filtered through the very the treatment plants that we have in the country, and also the water bottles and the sachet water, the properly packaged water. That is the clean water sources that we have. They're improved.
We'll return to the Savannah region shortly, but first of all, tell us about generally what the report says about sources of drinking water for most Ghanaians.
So most Ghanaians, now we have 37.4% of all households using sachet water as their main source of drinking water. It used to be pipe-borne water. Pipe-borne water is now number 2 with 31.7%. Again, we also have boreholes and tubes coming in number 3 with 17% doing that. The report also found the use of sachet water as the main source of drinking water, largely for the urban areas. In Greater Accra, for example, 70% of the people drink sachet water. Compared to a place like Upper West, where just 2.6% of the people there drink the sachet water.
I see. But apart from the northeast Gonja district, which other districts are heavily affected by the situation?
In fact, in Toulon, in the northern region, 65% of the households use this unimproved drinking water source. Bono East, Sene East is also one area with 62%. In Savannah, the central Gonja area has 55% of the population there using unimproved water sources. And also in the eastern and Ashanti regions, places like Kweu, Afram Plains, and also Sechere, Afram Plains, also in the Ashanti region, have actually had very high, so more than 50% of the population or the households in these areas used unimproved drinking water sources.
Raymond, thank you very much for bringing us those details from the 2020 census report. But let's talk more about the Northeast Gonja district situation. Manu Kantin joins me in the studio with some more information on how the residents there are coping with the situation. Manu, what do we know?
So, Ernest, what we're told is that the only source of water in the district is a stream which is fast drying up. In actual sense, we're told that they're actually competing with cattle and other livestock for this particular water, and we're told that if they do not get one borehole at least, and we're told there's no borehole in the entire district, which is in fact the youngest district in the Savannah region. If they don't get a borehole before April, the water source would get dried up.
And we've been speaking to some of the residents. We'll hear from them subsequently. This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Scientists at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology are advising the preparation of food at low temperatures. Now, this comes at the back of a research by Food Science and Technology Department of the university, which found cancer-causing substances in street-vended fried rice and soup. In our series on food safety, Joy News' medical stringer, Dr. Netta Passam, speaks with lead scientist Gloria Mathana and Cabriwo in this report.
Do you relish burnt foods? Hi there, my canzo lovers. Benzopyrene and dibenzanthracene are the most potent cancer-causing substances formed through food burning.
Pyrene are precursors of benzoapyrene, and benzoapyrene is the most potent carcinogen amongst the polyaromatic hydrocarbons. So most of our cancer problems that we have is coming as a result of the benzoapyrene.
The researchers sought to identify the presence of these substances in street-vended fried rice and chicken.
The fufu, it was found in the soup. The soup because we use the dry fish, what's it called? So smoked fish. In the smoking of the fish, the processes, there is burning, introduction of these pyrenes. As they begin to char, they get pyrolyzed and they form pyrenes. Yeah. That we also found. Sometimes the fried chicken that we see in the fried rice, the chicken itself contained the benzoapyrene as well as its precursor, the pyrene. And some of the rice, as they stir fry, you see that there's some burning processes that goes on. So all those things contributed to the presence of pyrenes in the food that we examined.
For benzopyrene and dibenzanthracene, the recommendation is to prepare food on medium to low heat to prevent charring. Reporting for Joy News, Dr. Netta Passam.
Time now for sports, and Muftal Nabil Abdullah joins us in the studio. I thought this was done with. This was over and done with.
It is not done yet. It is not done yet. If you have a poor maintenance culture, this is where you find yourself. And that is exactly what is happening to.
So which venue have we settled on now?
At this point, the decision is left with FIFA and CAF to make. The inspector, Ivan, sent his report on Monday. We expect a report very soon, but Joyce was has picked up some intel that says that it's likely to be Babayara. Yes.
No more Cape Coast.
Not Cape Coast anymore. That's per Joy Sports sources. But let's hear from the National Sports Authority Deputy Director General, Bawa Majid, who says that the Cape Coast Sports Stadium will be ready on March 20. He believes that it will be ready 5 clear days before the fixture.
The Honorable Minister also invited the managers of this academy at Right to Dream Academy to come and assist the green grass technology so that they can recover the pitch within time to enable Ghana play at Cape Coast. So that was the purpose for which we were there. And what we saw, I'm not a technical person, so the verdict about the state of the pitch, whether it will be ripe for the game on Friday, 25th, that is for the technical people to decide. But I've seen a lot of improvements on the pitch. The pitch has really recovered. If you look at the pictures that you shown earlier, and what we saw yesterday, there's a tremendous improvement on the pitch. And if what they are telling us is anything to go by, then the pitch could be ready by 20th.
The pitch will be ready by March 20. That's according to the Deputy Director General.
Well, let's see how this goes, but this is not good at all. Already,
it doesn't speak well of us.
Nigeria is trolling us, and this.
Amokaji said we are struggling for a venue when they have a better pitch over there.
Well, Mustal, thank you very much. Time now for the latest in showbiz. Kofi.
Rapper D Black has sympathized with the majority of Ghanaians going through hardships as a result of a struggling economy. D Black says the government has been dishonest with its promises prior to being voted for, stressing that times are hard. Meanwhile, Gamro yesterday elected a new board comprising of Dinah Hobson, Rex Sumar, Kofi Abraham, Francis Omaria Dofo, Elizabeth Tago, Yao Ajimambedu, and Francis Boahen. The 7-member board will eventually elect one person as its chair, with Rex Sumar already declaring his intention to contest. Finally, the first round of performers for the 64th Grammys have been announced. Regular features on Billboard charts, BTS, Olivia Rodrigo, and Lil Nas X made the cut. The 2022 Grammys comes off on Sunday, April 3.
Kofi for there with the latest in showbiz. So what's trending on social media? My Peter CBD is here to tell us. Ma'am?
Well, Afia Schwarzenegger and the Chief of Staff are trending, and this is because the MPP grassroots has told the Chief of Staff that monkeys cannot work for baboons to chop after the donation to Afia Schwarzenegger. At Richard 5353 says, watch the space. This 50,000 given to Afia Schwarzenegger is not free, but they will use her coming 2024 to campaign for them. At _IM Winter says, the Afia Schwarzenegger story, they're over me. And Kwame_Bero says, if the Chief of Staff can cough this amount of money to address Safo and Afia Schwarzenegger, then we ain't as poor as a nation. There's money, but they've created artificial poverty for Ghanaians to swim. And the last one from Anand Perry, who says, Afia Schwarzenegger said, MPP guys should tell their fathers to die, so they also get 50,000 donation from Fremau Pari, Chief of Staff.
Mavs, thank you very much for telling us what's trending on social media. That's how we end the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Our top stories this are: Fix the Country convener Oliver Baka-Vomawo, who is facing treason felony charges, granted a $2 million Ghana cedi bill by the Tema High Court, and the Civil and Local Staff Association is demanding the immediate withdrawal of the appointment of Henrietta Lamte as the head of the Birth and Deaths Registry. You find more on these stories when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I'm Ernest. Up next is Dr. Mensa Otabo with Living Word.
Hello, please, am I speaking to Miss Joanna Kuma?
Yes, please.
My name is Philip and I'm calling from MTN. Someone has just sent you money and we will need you to enter your PIN number